All right, well, I'm looking at another Clues by Sam, but this is not the daily puzzle. I was actually contacted by the creator of the game, and they sent me a custom puzzle. You'll notice it says October 30th. I'm doing it on the 31st because I just didn't have time to do it yesterday. But this is an evil puzzle. There's the different rankings. There's easy, medium, tricky, hard, and evil. This is an evil one, so it's supposed to be extra hard. I actually have a super evil puzzle as well that I'm going to do at a later date. So I'll include the link in the description to this evil puzzle if you want to try it out yourself before watching me solve. Otherwise, you can just watch me struggle through it. But basically, it's a logic puzzle. We're trying to find the criminals and the innocents. So let's see. Salil is a cop and says Chris is one of two innocents above Mark. All right, so Chris is innocent. We know that. There's two innocents above. Oh, there's two innocents above Mark. So that's Gus and Chris. Okay, cool. Easy start. There are exactly two innocents to the left of Zara. So two innocents to the left of Zara. So two of these three. Only one of the 8 innocents on the edges is Wanda's neighbor. So there's one innocent on the edge that's a neighbor of Wanda, which has to be Vince or Zia. So only one of them is innocent. So they're one of each, which means Wanda is innocent because there's two of them to the left of Zara. We can get rid of that. Oh, well, no, we can't because we got to remember that there's 8 innocents on the edges. That's probably going to be helpful at some point. Okay, Evie and Katie have an equal number of innocent neighbors. Okay, so Evie is up here in the corner, has three potential neighbors. Katie, they have an equal number of innocent neighbors, which is interesting. Evie and Katie have an equal number of innocent neighbors. So Katie can have at most 3. Man, that's all we've got to go off of, huh? Oh, no. Chris is one of 2. No, never mind. Above Mark. I was going to say there's 2. We've already got the 2, but that's because that was only the 2 people. So we don't have anything from that. There are exactly 2 innocents left of Zara. Only one of the 8 innocents on the edge is Wanda's neighbor. Oh, Paula. Paul can't be, not Paula. Paul can't be. Okay, I said Vince and Zia. That's interesting. But, right, because we knew there was 2 innocents. So I actually kind of didn't do that exactly right. So we knew that 2 of Vince, Wanda, and Zia were innocent, right? So there was no chance that Vince and Zia were both criminals. So one of them had to be an innocent, which was the one, which means Paul is criminal because Paul is also Wanda's neighbor on the edge. Yep. That was a silly oversight. Okay. Luckily, it didn't cause me to make any mistakes. Isaac is one of 3 criminals in column D. Okay, Isaac is a criminal. There's 3 criminals in column D. Betty and Thor have an equal number of innocent neighbors. Betty already has 2, could have 3, and Thor have an equal number of innocent neighbors. So Thor is going to have 2 or 3. And we know there's... We know there's 3 criminals in column D, but Ollie and Zara could both be criminals, and Thor could still end up having 3 innocent neighbors. That's not necessarily a problem. Okay, we know Evie and Katie have an equal number of innocent neighbors. Evie and Katie. Well, Evie has at most 2 now. So Katie can have at most 2 innocent neighbors. Now, I suspect there's something going on here. So we've got Evie and Katie that have an equal number. And then we've got Thor and Betty that have an equal number. And Betty and Katie have Flora in common. And so there's something going on there, I suspect. So, okay, Evie can have at most 2, which means Katie can have at most 2, right? Katie already has 1. If Flora were innocent, that would be her only one that she could have. Okay. So let's imagine, let's do this. I'm going to say I think it's purple color maybe. I am colorblind for those who don't know. I'm going to say that means innocent just temporarily. I want to try something. So let's say Flora is innocent. Katie will have 2 innocent neighbors. Well, we know Katie and Evie have to have the same number. So Donna and Hope will have to be innocent. Mark and Ronald would have to be criminals, which we're going to do this blue color. Even though it's sort of similar to purple, I think I'll be okay. Because I'm just doing this temporarily. I just want to see what happens. I suspect that we're going to have too many innocents around the edge by doing this. That's my guess. So Betty now has 3 innocent neighbors. And we know Betty and Thor have an equal number. And so even if Nicole is an innocent, one of these around the edge is going to be innocent too. Zia, Zara, or Ollie. Is that a problem? We'll end up with 1 at least, 2, 3, 4, 5 innocents around the edge, but that's fine. There's 8 innocents on the edge. That seems okay. There's, 14 innocents around the edge? Or 14 people around the edge. We need 8 innocents, so there can be 6 criminals. Seems okay. Oh, well, we know there's 3 criminals in column D. It seems okay. It seems okay. So maybe it's fine if Flora is innocent. If Flora is guilty, you've got Betty and Thor having the same number. So if Flora is guilty, then Betty has 2 and Thor has 2 at that point. But I mean, Ollie and Zara could both be innocents for that, as far as that's concerned, because if Thor and Evie are both criminals, then Ollie and Zara could both be innocent. Well, we couldn't have 2. We'd have 1. But that's okay. Okay, let's think. Well, we know, okay, column D is all on the edge, though. Right? So we have 14 people around the edges. 8 are innocent. We only have 6 criminals. And if there's 3 criminals in column D, plus Paul, that's 4, plus Vince or Zia is 5. So we've already got 5 of the criminals. So the rest of these, there can only be 1 criminal among these 4. So if Flora is a criminal, Donna is innocent. And then Evie only has 1 innocent. Katie already has 1. So if Flora is a criminal, Mark and Ronald are criminals. If Flora is innocent, okay, that's it. Katie, this is I don't know if I'd say it's evil. It's definitely difficult. Katie has to have the same number of innocents as Evie. Okay, we already know that. Evie can have at most 2, right? Katie already has 1. So Katie can have at most 1 more innocent. So if Flora is innocent, Mark and Ronald are criminals because Katie will have 2 innocents. Right? If Flora is innocent, Mark and Ronald are guilty. If Flora is guilty, that's the 1 guilty out of these 4 because of a number we have around the edges. And so if Flora is guilty, Donna has to be innocent, meaning Evie only has 1 innocent, meaning Gus is the only innocent, and Mark and Ronald are criminals. So whether Flora is innocent or guilty, innocent or criminal, it forces Mark and Ronald to be criminals. Mark and Ronald. I thought I had that. Okay, hold on. Let's think about this again. There's 3 criminals in column D. Zia and Vince are 1 of each. That's 4. Paul is 5. That's 5 criminals around the edges. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 14 people around the edges, and 8 of them are innocents. So that leaves 6 criminals. We have 3, 4, 5 criminals. There's only one more criminal, so only one of these 4 can be a criminal. If Flora is a criminal, Donna's innocent. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I didn't think about it right. Because if Flora is a criminal, Donna is innocent, and Evie could still have 2. No, but it still works because if Flora is a criminal, Donna and Katie. Oh, Katie, but it's Katie's neighbors. Ah, I thought I had that all figured out. Okay, well, that didn't work. Ignore the last however many minutes I was wasting my time on that. Let me know if you were yelling at the screen saying, "No, you idiot, you got it wrong," or if you were just going along with what I said and thought I had it right. Oh, man. Did I have you convinced? That's the question. All right. Well, shoot. Okay, we still know that only one of these 4 is a criminal. It's got to be something with this. So, does it have to do with Betty and Thor? That's all we've got right now, right? We've got the number around the edge. We already know the one that's Wanda's neighbor is one of these 2. Isaac is one of 3 criminals in column D. There's 3 criminals over here. 4, 5. It's got to be to do with there's 5 criminals. We only have 1 more criminal. Okay. Katie. Maybe it's not Flora. Maybe Flora isn't the place to focus, but she feels like the right one. Okay. Betty and Thor have the same number of innocent neighbors, right? If Flora is innocent, then Betty has 3, and Thor has to have 3. Okay. My dogs are being annoying. I gotta go let them inside. All right, sorry. They were outside barking and being annoying, so I wanted to let them inside. Okay. So if the problem is if Flora's innocent, there's 3 innocents around Betty, and Thor has to have 3. But I mean, it could be Zia and Nicole and Salil and Ollie and Zara could still be criminals, or you could have Ollie and Zara be innocent, and Thor, Isaac, and Evie are criminals. So it doesn't feel like it's a problem. If Flora is a criminal, that forces Katie, Betty, and Donna all to be innocent. But, so then Betty would have 2 innocent neighbors. Thor would have to have 2, but again, I don't see why that's a problem. Is Hope ever not an innocent? Maybe that's the thing. If Flora's innocent, then Katie has 2 and Hope has to be innocent. Right? If Flora's innocent, Katie has 2 innocent neighbors, and Donna and Hope both have to be innocent. Oh! Oh, it's Donna! It's Donna! It finally dawned on me. If Flora is innocent, Katie has 2 innocents, and Donna and Hope both have to be innocent. If Flora is a criminal, she's the one criminal among these 4, and Donna has to be innocent. Donna is always innocent. Oh, man. All right. Okay. So if Flora is innocent, Hope has to be innocent. If Flora is a criminal, we don't know about Hope. Okay. Column C is the only column with exactly 4 innocents. Column C is the only column with exactly 4 innocents. Okay, so That's interesting. Mark and Ronald are either both innocent or both criminals. So I don't know. We're getting too many different colors that mean different things, but that's okay. So the yellows are one of each. The maybe blues are the same, and the maybe purple there's one criminal. Okay. And so but Katie can have at most two innocents because Katie and Evie have the same number of innocent neighbors, and Evie can only have at most two. Katie can have at most two. Mark and Ronald can't both be innocent, or Katie would have three innocent neighbors. Mark and Ronald are both criminals. There we go. Okay, you're too clever for us, Ronald says. Apparently, I'm not too clever. All right, there's an odd number of innocents neighboring Ronald. I don't know that we need the columns. Well, we need to know there's four. Okay. Odd number of innocents neighboring Ronald. Ronald has one innocent already. One of these two innocents already. Wow. All right, I know how to count. Two innocents plus one of these two, that's three. So Ronald has three innocents. So Katie and Nicole have to be the same. They're either both innocent or they're both criminal. Katie and Nicole are the same. Is that helpful? Is that helpful in any way? Katie and Nicole are the same. Well, we know Flora and Hope are the same. Now Katie and Nicole are the same. But they could all four be innocents. Because Zia would be a criminal, Vince would be innocent, Betty would be a criminal. You'd have three innocents in this column, which is fine. So I think they could all four be innocent. Or if either one of these is a criminal, Flora or Katie, then Zia is innocent and Vince is a criminal. If either one of these is a criminal, Vince is a criminal. But if they're both innocents, then Betty's a criminal. So there's going to be two criminals over here, but right? Wait, if either one of these is a criminal, then Vince is a criminal. Yeah, I don't think that's the place to look yet. Okay. Odd number of neighboring Ronald. Isaac is one of three criminals in column D. Odd number of innocents neighboring Ronald. We've got that because we know these two are the same. Okay, and Katie and Evie have the same number of innocent neighbors, which is why Hope and Flora are the same. Betty and Thor have the same number of innocent neighbors. Okay, so Betty already has two. Could have three. Thor needs to have two or three. So if these two are both innocents, Z is a criminal, Vince is innocent. We'd have three innocents over here. Betty would be a criminal. That's fine. Because we can't have four innocents in any of their columns. If Hope or Nicole is a criminal, Zia is innocent, Vince is a criminal. And then Flora or Katie would also be a criminal because one of these two is a criminal. Betty would be innocent, but you'd have three criminals, which is still fine. You just can't only have one criminal in a column. Interesting. Okay, well, It's got to have something to do with Thor's neighbors, I feel like. Betty's got 2, maybe 3 innocents. Okay, if Flora is a criminal, then we know Hope is innocent, Zia's a criminal. Katie's innocent. Okay, let's do this for a second. Let's say Flora is a criminal. I'm going to go with, I think that's red. That's red to me. If Flora is a criminal, Betty and Katie are innocents, Hope is a criminal. Nicole is innocent. We've already got our criminal here. Zia would be innocent. Vince would be a criminal. Thor would have... look at that. Thor would have 3 innocent neighbors. Betty would have 2. Yeah, that's what it does. Okay, so Flora can't be a criminal. Flora's innocent. Hope is innocent. Okay. Let's see. We're gonna change these back to what I had before. There we go. Okay. So, in fact, we now know that Betty and Katie are one of each, and Vince and Zia are one of each. Wow. Okay. There are more criminals than innocents below Isaac. Hope says, good job. Thanks, Hope. There are more criminals than innocents below Isaac. Criminals than innocents. So there has to be at least 2 criminals below Isaac. And we know there's 3 criminals in column D, so Evie is innocent. You're the best. Thanks, Evie. More criminals. So there has to be at least 2 criminals down here. In fact, there has to be exactly 2 criminals down here. There's 1 innocent. Betty has 3 innocents. Thor needs to have 3 innocent neighbors. And at least 1... So Ollie and Zara can only have at most 1 innocent. There could be no innocents because Thor could be the innocent one among those 3. But there's at most 1 innocent there. Salil is innocent. But we don't know about Nicole and Zia. Odd number of innocents, neighbor Ronald. So we know Katie and Nicole are the same. So Betty and Nicole are opposites. One of each, one of each. Evie and Katie have an equal number of innocent neighbors. Okay, Evie has 2. Katie has 2. That's good. We're done with that. Betty and Thor have an equal number. Betty has 3. Thor needs to have 3. If Ollie and Zara are both innocent, they can't be. Only one can be innocent. If they're both criminals, then Nicole and Zia are both innocent, which makes Vince and Katie both innocent. No, Nicole and Zia would both be innocent, which would make Katie innocent and Vince a criminal. And Betty a criminal. But that's fine. 3 criminals in column D. Odd number of innocents neighboring Ronald. Right. 3. So Katie and Nicole. If Katie and Nicole are innocents. Innocent, guilty. Column C. It's the only column with exactly 4 innocents. So Nicole and Zia are one of each. Katie and Nicole are the same. So Katie and Zia are opposites, which means Katie and Vince are the same. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to mark these a little bit differently than usual. I'm going to do this. This is another way to mark them. So I'm marking the ones that are the same. So we know Katie and Nicole are the same because of Ronald having an odd number. We know Nicole and Zia are opposites because we need 4 innocents in the column. We know Vince and Zia are opposites because of Wanda's neighbors. And we know Katie and Betty are opposites because we have to have 1 criminal up there. for the total number around the edges. So the same color are the same thing on here. So Nicole and Zia are not the same. That's the key, which I already kind of knew. I just hadn't put the dots, connected the dots. Thor needs to have 3 innocent neighbors. If Ollie and Zara are the other 2 criminals in column D, Nicole and Zia would both have to be innocent, but they can't both be innocent. They're opposites. Ollie and Zara cannot both be criminals. Therefore, one of them is innocent. Therefore, the 3rd criminal in column D is Thor. All right, an odd number of innocents. So Ollie and Zara are one of each. Do we know how they connect with Nicole and Zia, like with the others, though? I don't think we do. They're one of each, but we don't know which one's yellow. Okay. An odd number of innocents on the edges, neighbor Ronald. Okay, innocents on the edges are Katie, Vince, and Zia, and plus Paul and Wanda. But Paul and Wanda are one of each already. But it's the number, not... Okay, yeah. So, we have 1 from Wanda. Katie, Vince, and Zia are the others. If Zia is innocent, we will end up with 2, which is an even number. Vince and Katie have to be innocent, which then means Nicole is innocent. Zia's a criminal. Betty's a criminal. Nice one. Clever. You're smart. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Vince. I just want 3 criminals in column D. We're done using that. These guys are one of each. There are more criminals than innocents below Isaac. We use that. You got me, Betty said. That's right, Betty. We sure did. We've already used... Okay, I think we've used most of these things. Betty and Thor have an equal number of neighbors. So we're down to both innocents in row 5 are connected. In row 5, both innocents, which means there's 2 innocents, which means Zara is a criminal. Busted, Zara says. That's right. And finally, Ollie is innocent. I knew we could trust you, Ollie says. All right. Wow. Well, it says less than 30 minutes. I also, went to let the dogs in, and yeah, so the time, I forgot there was a timer running on this, but that's all right. It doesn't really matter. Well, that was an evil level difficulty puzzle. I know some people were wondering what the evil level looks like. I actually have another one that's super evil that I'm going to do sometime, and maybe next week sometime. So stay tuned for that video. But yeah, if you tried this puzzle out, let me know how it went for you. And if you were just following along with me, let me know. Like I said, did you fall for the logic that I was using, or were you yelling at the screen that I was wrong? And of course, thank you to the creator of the puzzle for making this special one for me. And as always, be sure to subscribe for more.